Hello.
Hey, how's it going, Shane?
Hey man, good. Sorry, I'm late. I thought it was 4:30, and I don't know why I thought that. But then I looked at the email and it's like, oh, sure enough, it is 4:15. So
All good, man. Appreciate the time. I know you're out down the road. Things are crazy, but wanted to
yeah,
do this 25th anniversary tour and talk about the new album and look backwards and forwards a little bit. But dude, I was trying to do the math here. 25 years ago, starting up this band, you must have been like in high school or fresh out of high school.
I was in my last year of high school, but actually at the time in Canada, we had it went up to grade 13. So I should have been in my first year of college, but we had an extra year,
Ah,
5 years of high school, which is kind of weird, now that Canada's only 4 years, and I know the US has always only been 4 years. So, yep. But I was 19. We survived Y2K, and then we started the band a few weeks later.
and dude, definitely determined now the get-go. I mean, most bands are like trying to figure out the band name or still learning covers, and 6 months in, you had an EP out.
Yeah, we went pretty fast. It was I think because it was that end of high school, and I had already been accepted to college. I think the band was never supposed to be like a long-term thing. It was that's funny now, right? It was supposed to be just a side project, something to do for fun. I remember the weather was pretty miserable at the time too, so it was kind of okay, what are we gonna do for the winter? And then, like I think to his credit, I think Paul, our drummer, was the most serious about it because I remember him making us a website, and I was like, what do we need a website for? Bands don't have websites. Because back then, I think the only band that I remember having a website was like Metallica.
Right.
So it seemed a little ridiculous that we had a website, but he took it seriously, and then he started booking shows, and then you know it it, it kind of our other bands broke up, and then I was doing shows like every weekend while I was in college too. So so the band became more and more serious, and then it became my whole life.
I expected you to be like, oh, it was get from the get-go. We had the band logo day one and world domination all matted out, but quite the opposite.
Hell no. No, we didn't no, not at all. We were just kind of just having fun, really, doing something that other bands weren't really doing in our scene. Like that kind of music wasn't very prevalent. It was mostly, you were in a punk band or you were in a ska band.
Right.
You know, we didn't have a lot of like, emo or screamo bands. There were a few, don't get me wrong, but it was kind of like a new thing. So
And anything you would tell yourself if you could tell your high school self that now looking back 25 years ago, any wisdom you would give your
no, I don't think I would tell myself anything. I think the way it all shook out, and the way that it happened organically, and in a way, kind of how naive and innocent we were, I think actually was a good thing. I mean, we had fun. We did, and we still do. Like treat people with respect, and you know, don't put ourselves above anyone else, and just kind of like enjoy every day. And that was our mantra back then, and I think it still is today.
dude, on top of trying to figure out things, how the hell did you have any time to do a new album with all the touring that you do? And help me out with I always get confused when I see these. Is it anti-bloom or anti-bloom?
I don't know. You can say it either way. I think I tend to say when I use that word, I tend to say anti,
Okay.
not anti, but I really don't know I think it depends where you're from.
Like your accent.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. No, like it's not like we have, my mom's sister is my auntie Bloom. Her name is Bloom, and that's I don't know, anti, whatever you want, but
Anti-social from Anthrax, you know?
antisocial, whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't-
I but regardless, yes, we spent a lot of time writing. This is kind of going back almost a full year now. The records, both records actually have been finished for uh about 8 months now.
Wow.
So we've been sitting on it for a little while, so we had some time. we got them all done, and then we've spent the last 6 months or so really gearing up for this like huge year of touring. Which yeah, right now I'm sitting in a movie theater in Pittsburgh, um, and we have a show here tomorrow. And yeah, we're just really psyched to be on the road celebrating 25 years of noise. That's what we're calling it, and bringing out the biggest production we've ever brought out, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we'll get into the tour in a second. I was lucky enough to get to hear the album, which is phenomenal,
Oh,
man.
great!
It starts off, all your albums start off with bangers, and certainly Mercy Mercy, a banger to kick off the album.
Oh yeah,
Really, I don't want to get carried away with talking about songs that people haven't heard yet either, but Stress was another one that really stood
yep,
out to me. Had a kind of a cool bounce to it that I don't know if I've heard from you
totally.
before. But
No, yeah, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say about stress, it's kind of like we've sort of embraced our our new metal influence,
Yeah.
which I don't think I really ever thought we had. Um, but I don't know, man. Like it's like the 90s are back again. Like I swear all the kids I see, like I'm at a movie theater right now, all the kids hanging around, they're wearing the same clothes I wore in 1995. Like
Flannel
it
and
is wild. Like 30 years has just come back, like the fashion and I think the music, and hopefully the economy too. You know, it's it's really funny, to see. But I think some of those influences that maybe we pushed against because we were trying to be like overly punk or overly underground, we didn't embrace that much. But we kind of embraced our new metal with stress, and it does have a bounce. And then Mercy Mercy is just a straight up thrasher.
everything.
So those are two songs I'm really excited for people to hear. But the singles we've released so far are really being well received. But I don't think you've heard the next album,
No, just the first one.
Pink Moon, dude. I think it's even better than this one.
Really?
So it's oh yeah, I really do. So it's really exciting that we have like a whole year of music coming out, and we'll be playing basically every corner of the globe too. So it's exciting.
Question about that. So you wrote and recorded all those songs? Did you just have like 24 songs and said we got to make it a double album, or was it supposed to be a double from the start?
No, we had 25 songs, and when I say we had 25 songs, I mean we had 25 done, polished, written songs that we thought were good. We'd already whittled it down from the other ideas,
Hmm.
and we were like all very stressed about having to get rid of at least half of them to make a 11, 12 song album.
Sure.
And I was like not sleeping. I was like staying awake at night, like worrying about which songs were gonna get cut and all that. And then our drummer Paul had the idea to make two 8 song records and kind of turn it into two sort of shorter full lengths. And we thought that was a great idea. And also, something we hadn't done before.
Yeah.
We've put out 11 or 12 records, whatever you want to call it, and this time it's something new, something different. And I think the slightly shorter running times, I think appeal to people too in this day and age because there's just so much out there. And we're in the TikTok generation, at least for now, where people are just like swipe, next. So I
Right.
think songs are shorter and albums maybe should be shorter too.
Is there any sort of through line, any sort of theme to the albums? Do they tie together, or are they just kind of a collection, different collections of songs?
Well, they all the albums were all written together, so it's not like we have two different themes with the albums. Any of the songs could be on either album. But no, I would say not really this time. We've tried our hand at concept albums, and I've done the whole like practically a movie script going into the recording process. This time, I think, if a shipwreck in the sand is one story, this is kind of like 16. So I think there's a lot there for people to relate to and enjoy, and you know, people will always find some common ties here and there, but we didn't go in trying to do anything like that.
Killer. Well, I love the first half. Confession's another great song. Love the lyrics on that one.
Thank you.
But I wanted to get into the single "Don't Let Me Get Too Low," and with you shoveling, I imagine you wrote the treatment for that one.
No, actually, our guitar player Paul Mark and video director Wyatt Clough kind of wrote the treatment for that video, and also we have an upcoming video.
Mm,
There's a little bit of a teaser at the end of the video clip. If you go right to the end, you'll see I'm wearing like a
hmm.
detective outfit.
Right.
So that's a little bit of a that's showing what's to come with the next video.
Ah.
And They were really fun to make. We made them out in Las Vegas where I live. And yeah, we dug a big hole in the desert in the middle of nowhere. Luckily, no cops came and asked us any questions. Um, and while we were, it's funny too, because I guess people go out in the desert and they shoot guns.
Hmm.
And we were there filming and we heard all these gunshots and we were like, oh my God, I hope they know we're here. We're not, no one's gonna die today. So that was a little hectic, a little scary, but it was a very fun video and I can't wait for people to see part two because even more fun.
I love the part where you hand the shovel back up to yourself in the video.
Yeah, and shout out to my friend Patrick. My friend Patrick got to play my double, and that's
Ah,
him in the hole handing me the shovel. So that was pretty fun.
I love how the guys in the Paul Mar writes this treatment where he doesn't have to be in it. I was gonna say I bet the band guys were stoked that they didn't have to do
Yeah,
anything. They could just sit around and let you do all the heavy lifting.
no, I know. Only Paul Mark came. The other three guys got to enjoy a little time off before this big tour. But it was really fun to make that video, and I got to do a little more acting than just
Yeah.
thrashing around like I usually do in videos.
Well, speaking of thrashing around, let's get into the tour a little bit here. Coming back to the House of Blues Anaheim, January 31st. I
Yeah.
love what you did with the lineup too. A little old school with Thursday, and then a little new school with Split Chain and Arm's Length. But I imagine a lot of history with Thursday, and maybe even a little bit of an influence on you guys. They got started a few years before you.
Totally. Yeah, they were a big influence on the whole scene, man. And they were kind of, well, they really were the first band in our genre to break into the mainstream at all.
Hmm.
They were having a video played on MTV back in like 2001, and that kind of opened the doors for so many of us. And then of course we signed to the same label that they were on, Victory Records. And then they went on to a major label and it was crazy. So we'd never actually done a tour with them. We did some Warped Tour dates with them and Taste of Chaos back in the day, but this is the first time we've actually been on the road. So it's a true honor to have them supporting us. They're just such a great band. And yeah, and Arm's Length are our Canadian brothers, much younger. I think some of them aren't even 25. So they weren't even born yet when we started the band, which is really funny. And Split Chain is just a great emerging band from the UK. It's their first time in the US right now.
Oh wow.
So so I think it's fun to have that different people, different age groups, different walks of life, and you walk around backstage and we've got people from like, you know, age 19 to 49, I think, back there. So it's a really, really great vibe, great tour. And yeah, really excited to be back at the House of Blues Anaheim, sold out again. Thank you very much. And we'll be in San Diego too, also sold out. Um, and still some tickets for LA at the Wiltern available. And yeah, I just want to say much love to everybody in LA going through all that horrific stuff with all the fires right now. And yeah, our heart goes out to you. And we're working on a shirt right now that we're going to be selling and donating some proceeds to the victims of the fire as well.
Oh, great to hear that. And curious, man, it's got to be impossible. 25th anniversary tour, putting together a set list. It just gets harder and harder each time. And imagine with the 25th anniversary tour, kind of trying to make sure you hit one of everything.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we were trying to do. I mean, we debated a lot within our group of what we were going to do and what was the best thing to do, and we've done a lot of album plays where we've done full albums in the past, and we decided that this time we wanted to celebrate everything. So we said to our fans, we're going to play at least one song from every album, and then we opened up the voting lines so people could vote for their favorite song from each album. And now that's what we're doing. So we're playing the one song from every record, at least, and really just touching on everything. And also, we wanted to play a few songs we'd never played live before ever.
Sweet.
So, some deep cuts and stuff like that too, because, we realize that we see a lot of this familiar faces in the crowd. So we want to switch it up and play some different songs and bring back some old ones we haven't played in a while and really just celebrate everything we've done over our whole career.
And imagine the production ramps up too with the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, well, it's the first time we've ever, had a video screens and we've got 5 video screens, all these different elements and like crazy lighting and all this stuff, which we'd never done before. And man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, especially when you're our band and we're perfectionists about everything. So, but it came out awesome. It's looking like so good every night, and I think people are coming. They're coming with excitement and leaving with a huge smile on their face, and that's what we try to do every time.
That's awesome. That's the goal. And dude, I appreciate all the time. Last couple of things I wanted to hit you with. I'm curious as you being an artist and talking about caring about the set list. I'm curious when you go to a concert, do you look at Setlist FM? Do you look up shows and see what the band is playing before you go?
Absolutely not. Never. I want the surprise. I don't know if it's because of my age and going to shows when I was a kid, but I remember like I'd be at the show with all my friends and we would all like place bets on what they were going to open with.
Ah,
And that was like something that was fun to say, oh, are they going to open with this song or this song, or like how are they going to do the set, or and like I get it. I'm not saying it's not cool. If you want to do that, go ahead. And I get it, especially with a band like us. We've got so many songs. Some people like to practice. They like to make a little playlist of the songs you're going to play and practice their singing. I personally like to be surprised, and most bands that I go to see, I know their catalog like up and down, back and forth, left and right. And love most of it. So I like the surprise personally.
and just out of curiosity, do you remember the last concert ticket you paid for that you bought, that you went out of your way and bought?
Yes, I was actually in LA in San Pedro. I went to see the final No Effect shows.
Oh,
They
nice.
did they did their 3 final shows ever, and I couldn't go to the Friday because we were playing a show in Alabama, but I flew direct from Alabama to LA so I could see NoFX finish up their career. And I did buy a ticket, but then they put me on the guest list anyway. But
Ah,
I didn't want to be backstage. They're my favorite band. They're really important to me, so I wanted to be right there in the crowd, as close as I could get, just like when I was 16,
yeah.
uh, for their last set. So I guess that was the last one.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's ultimately what it's all about is just love. 25 years of doing this. It's the love of the music, doing what you do, doing what I do on the radio side of things. It's all about the love. And that shows through, and that's awesome. Last thing I need your help with, dude. We're an old school radio station. We do a feature called Mandatory Metallica. We talked
Oh
about
yeah.
we talked about a year or so ago and had a little Ride the Lightning versus Master of Puppets, and we were simpatico on Master. So this time I figured we'd throw down, load versus reload or something.
Oh boy. Not
I'm
my
just kidding.
favorite 2 albums,
I'm
but
just
I
kidding.
I I guess I'd go with Load if I had to pick one, I guess. But I can pick any Metallica song.
Well, talk to me about Metallica. Last time we gushed about how great Master was. Outside of
Yeah.
Master, what's your next favorite record? What's your go-to? What do you think of with Metallica?
I would say my order is probably Master of Puppets, Ride the Lightning, the Black Album, then maybe Kill 'Em All, and then Justice.
Were you
That's
just
it.
as confused as I was when you first heard the Black Album?
No, because I was so young still that like when it came out, I just thought it was cool. The first song I ever heard was One. And
Mhm.
then shortly after the Black Album came out, and I was pretty obsessed with the Black Album, and I still think it's great. But I understand how the old school fans could think it was different. But I'll say, man, what confused me most was when Load came out and they had short hair,
Yeah.
and I think Until It Sleeps was the first single, and I was like, this isn't heavy, you know. Um, but I don't know, man. I love Metallica. In fact, I just bought the new Metallica pinball machine
Oh,
that
nice.
just came out. So yeah, I ponied up the big cash for that, but it's I love pinball and it's my favorite one of my favorite bands of all time, so I needed it in my house.
And you living in Vegas, you got the pinball arcade out there, the pinball
The
museum.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Pinball Hall of Fame. Yeah, it's they got a lot of machines and dozens of them work. That's the only problem. A lot of broken games, but I do have a good time there.
And yeah, just to put a button on it, man, what song can we play for you? What Metallica tune can we play for you on Mandatory Metallica?
Oh man, that's a very difficult choice. I'll tell you what, Mike, why don't you give me an album and I'll pick a song.
Okay. Let's go Black Album like we were just talking about.
Black Album. All right. Let's go with the closing track, very underrated song, The Struggle Within.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No one ever talks about the song. It's kind of a banger.
My deep cut on that one is My Friend Misery. I love that bass line in the beginning.
Cool song. Very cool song. In fact, if anybody wants to go real deep, there's a cover of My Friend or Misery by this like female pop artist called Cherry Glazer.
Ooh.
And it's one of my favorite Metallica covers I've ever heard. It's wildly, vastly different, but one of my favorites, worth looking up.
Beautiful, man. Thank you as always. Fun chat with you, and can't wait for the show on the.
Of course, Mike. Thanks. Yeah, man. I'll see you there. Take care.
Thanks. Bye bye.
All right, man. Cheers.